the check engine light in your car on. Nobody likes it when that happens, and a lot of people think that the first thing they have to do is take it to the dealer or take it to a mechanic to see what it is. But as it turns out, you might not have to. Here's what to do as soon as you see the check engine light on in your car. So here we have a 2010 Chevy Camaro, which I wish I could say I was the proud owner of, but no, this is my dad's car. And basically the check engine light is on, so everything in it runs perfectly fine based on driving it. So let's go ahead and start it up, and you can see how we get the check engine light when we do. Put it in neutral so I can take my foot off the clutch, and you can see here we have the glorious check engine light that everybody loves to see. See, it's got 125,000 miles, about half tank of fuel. So this is what you need to do whenever you see the check engine light on in your car. So here's the premise of how this whole thing works. Every single vehicle made in the United States since 1996 has had what is called an Obd2 port. Some people call it a data port. Now basically, you may have never seen it if you've never looked for it, but basically the data port is what mechanics will plug little scan tools in to run diagnostics on your car. And basically, usually it's under your dashboard. Sometimes it'll be inside the fuse box. In this Camaro, it's right under here. It's about right here under the dashboard. If you can't find it, just Google your specific car year, make, and model to find out where your Obd2 port is. So here's what you're gonna need. This is an Obd2 scanner. You can see it says Obd2 right here. This is what plugs into the Obd2 port, or the data port, on your car. And this is the kind of thing that mechanics use to figure out what's wrong with your car. Because whenever your check engine light comes on, it doesn't tell you this, but your car actually stores a code, a diagnostic code, inside of the car's computer system. And this is how mechanics have been able to figure out what is wrong with the car. And they developed this diagnostic system because nobody really wants to test out every single thing in the car that could possibly be wrong. In this way, it can tell exactly what caused the car to throw on that check engine light. You're probably asking, well, where can I find an Obd2 scanner? What kind should I get? Well, you can find them at any auto parts store. You can also find them online. Now, basically, they run in range from around $50, $60 to several $1,000s. If you are following this tutorial, then you are probably only going to need one that's around $100 or less. Now, there are some really good Bluetooth ones that will actually hook up to your phone and can do a lot for the price, but in this case, this one is, this is a VDAG, or however you say that, I don't know how you say that, but it was only around 40, 60 bucks or so, and basically, please do not go spending couple $100s, couple $1,000s, because those can do really insane things that you probably don't even know exist. Those are things that only mechanics use. Only get one of those if you're going to be working on your car regularly. If you just want to tell why the check engine light is on and what you might need to do about it, just get one of these cheap ones. Here is how you can use this OBD scan tool to figure out why your check engine light is on. Alright, so the exact location of the port is right there. Like I said, if you don't know where it is, just look for it, or you can Google it. So go ahead, get your Obd2 port, or the cable, and that is when you just have to plug it in just like that. And you don't need to charge these things. They run on the car battery, and you can see it's already linking to the vehicle. It knows all kinds of stuff about the vehicle. Now, what you want to do, go ahead, put the key on the position like this, give it like one or two, like give it 2 turns so the idiot lights come on and you can see all the stuff. I'm gonna shut the door, and I didn't shut it all the way. So now that is how this little scan tool is going to hook up to the car. Now, you can do it with the car on as well, but you don't actually need to turn the car on. As long as you have a tiny amount of charge in your battery, even if it's not enough battery to start the car, there will probably be enough power to read it. So this is where it really depends on the specific scan tool you get. It'll come with a manual of how to read the codes and stuff, or you can just Google it. This one is very simple to use. You can see it comes up with 2 things right here. I'm going to go to engine. I'm going to hit enter. And here we get the option to read codes and erase codes. Read codes, I'm going to hit that, and that's going to show us what is actually going on here. So here we have a generic trouble code P0449. This is the code that caused that check engine light to come on. Let's go ahead and find out what this code means. This is when the internet comes in handy, because what mechanics used to have to do, you'd have to buy books, and it would just be endless pages of random trouble codes, and you'd have to look them up, and it's basically a dictionary, but now you have the dictionary online, and you also have the trouble codes. P0449, and you can already see we're getting suggested results. And Chevy's coming up, so we can probably guess using the search results here. And you see GMC we have here. That makes me think that this is probably, since GMC is owned by GM and so is Chevy, that this is going to be a code that only shows up on GM vehicles. Go ahead and Google, and that's when you can even see it recommends Camaro. That's when you can figure out what this trouble code actually means. So in this case, what it says is the code P0449 is an indication that the evap system vent valve solenoid malfunctioning. All this means is that more pollution is being released. It's something wrong with the carbon emissions. That's all it is. It just means that there's something wrong with this evap system, which is causing the car to emit more pollution than is actually quote unquote safe or legal, or what is set by the standards. So this is a strong indication that if we had to take this car in for an emissions check, a smog test, they sometimes call it, it would fail the test. Now, I live in Michigan, so thankfully we don't have emissions tests. So I'm going to tell you a little secret. This code has been on the engine for 2 years. 2 years, that is when this code came on. And here's the thing, since all it really means is that it's emissions, it's not something that needs to be fixed right away. Now, make sure you Google the code, because it could very well be something that's wrong with your car. It could be a bad oxygen sensor. It could be a transmission problem. It could be, there's so many things that it could possibly be, which is why you need to make sure that you do your proper research. So, now, I've actually done a lot more research about this code, and I made absolute positivity that having this code on the car does not mean that there's anything actually wrong, damaging, that's going to be damaging your car the more you drive it. Now, this is something that we're going to want to get looked at. My dad's going to have to take it into Chevy at some point. He's kind of procrastinated it for 2 years. He's going to have to take it in. He's going to have them fix it. But it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But this is how you know if it's something urgent or if you can keep driving your car or not. Disclaimer, please do not do what I'm about to do until you know with absolute certainty what your trouble code is. After the mechanic will read this code, they will fix whatever is causing it, and this is how they get that light to go away. So, since I know that this isn't a serious problem and the car can continue to be driven without it being something to worry about, what I'm actually going to do is clear the code so that that stupid check engine light will stop showing up. Now, the light is only going to go away permanently if you actually fix what's causing it. So I am going to clear the code, but within driving this thing for probably an hour, once you complete a full drive cycle, which includes city driving and highway driving, there's a lot of stuff your car knows and tests that it runs in the background without you kind of knowing. So as soon as you drive long enough, this stupid light is going to come back on until you actually get the problem fixed. But what if, assuming, okay, you fixed whatever was bad, it was something you were able to do, and now you just need to clear the code so that that stupid light turns off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the trouble code so you can see the code. Here it is right here. Here's that code. I'm going to go back, and then what I'm going to go to is erase code. So scroll down, then I am going to hit enter. Now it's going to give you a warning. Yes, I do want to erase those trouble codes. We're going to hit enter, and now it has erased the code. And now what I'm going to do is unplug the scanner. I'm also going to start the car, and that code should be away, at least until we complete a full drive cycle. So I'm going to go ahead, start it up. So wait for all the idiot lights to turn off. look what you don't see over there. There is no longer a check engine light because we cleared the code from the car and now it's gone. But just remember that unless you actually fix the problem, the code is going to show up again as soon as the car runs the test in the background. It runs all these tests on stuff that it doesn't tell you. As soon as it runs that test that threw the light on, that light is going to come right back on. You'll usually have to drive for around 45 minutes to an hour. You'll have to get some highway driving in. You'll have to get some city driving in before the car can seriously know whether it needs to throw that light on or not. So, pretty smart stuff that these cars know. But now you can see that the code is gone and you no longer have anything to worry about. Like I said, make sure you don't actually clear that code unless you know what it means, because if it's something serious, like if it's a transmission problem, or if it's even worse, like a cylinder misfire, don't just be like, oh, I'll clear the code, and then you just kind of forget about it. No, you can't. If it's something like a cylinder misfire, that's something that you got to get looked at. But that is basically how you can read the codes to find out what caused the check engine light, and also how to erase the codes to get rid of the check engine light. And assuming you actually fix the problem, that light isn't going to come back on. I hope you enjoyed learning how to figure out why your check engine light is on and what you might need to do about it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.